like them. You see, there's something powerful about knowing that you were chosen on purpose, that you didn't just stumble into this season or accidentally land in the middle of this assignment. No, this isn't coincidence. This isn't luck. This is divine strategy. God, in his infinite wisdom, looked across time and saw this exact moment, this exact need, this exact challenge, and said, Echo, I've got just the one for this, and he chose you. Now, I know it doesn't always feel like you're chosen. In fact, and sometimes it feels like you're barely holding together. It feels like the weight of the task is too much, the demand is too heavy, act like them, and your qualifications don't seem to match the calling. But let me tell you something important. God doesn't make mistakes. Act like them. If you're standing in it, if you're walking through it, act like it's because he has already declared that you have what it takes, even if you can't see it yet. Sometimes we expect that being chosen means it'll be easy, that doors will fly open and favor will be obvious. But being chosen doesn't always come with comfort. In fact, it often comes with pressure, with opposition, act like them, with a process that seems to stretch us beyond what we think we can bear. But that's the point. Act like them, because God is just choosing the strongest on the outside. He's choosing the ones with strength hidden on the inside. Act like them, and you don't uncover in strength in easy places. You find it in the fight. You find it when the lights are off and your knees hit the ground and you say, God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. That's where chosen people discover what God already knows is inside them. You may be asking, why me? And the enemy would love to twist that question into a statement. Why me? I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. I'm not strong. But let's flip that question right back where it belongs. Why not you? Why not the one who survived what others didn't? Act like them. Why not the one who's still standing after every attack that should have taken you out? Like the why not the one who has been faithful even when no one was watching? God saw your heart before he gave you the assignment. He saw your character before he gave you the call. He saw what others overlooked and said, that's the one. Like them, right there. God doesn't look for perfection. He looks for surrender. He's not waiting on you to be flawless. He's waiting on you to say yes. And the moment you do, you'll begin to discover that he already built into you everything necessary for the task. Strength that doesn't show up until it's needed. Grace that flows when you thought you'd run dry. Like them, peace that holds you together in the middle of storms. That's the kind of strength God hides in chosen vessels. And sometimes we compare ourselves to people who were never called to do what we were called to do. And we wonder why we feel different, why we feel set apart, why we can't seem to shake this burden or this vision that keeps pressing on our spirit. Act like them. It's because you're not just living. You're on assignment. You're walking out something eternal. Something God prepared long before you were born, something bigger than a paycheck, bigger than applause, bigger than titles or positions. You were chosen for something holy. Act like them. Don't waste time wishing for a lighter load when God is trying to show you the strength he already placed inside you. You keep trying to run from what you were built to carry. But every time you step into purpose, every time you take one more step by faith, act like them, proving the enemy wrong. You're proving that God knew exactly what he was doing when he picked you. And I want to speak directly to that voice in your head, the one that keeps whispering that you're not enough, that you're going to fail, that you're in over your head. That voice is lying, because if God gave you the assignment, he already hid the strength. He already made the deposit, and he's just waiting on you to trust him enough to draw from what he placed inside you. So stop shrinking back. Stop disqualifying yourself. Stop looking at everyone else and thinking they're gifted or more called or more worthy. God chose you on purpose. Now, walk like them. What you've got to understand is that the strength you need isn't missing. It's just hidden. Hidden strength isn't weakness. Hidden strength isn't lack. It's divine strategy. God didn't forget to give you what you needed for this assignment, and he just concealed it in places you haven't looked yet. And the reason it's hidden is because it wasn't meant to be exposed all at once. It unfolds. It's revealed. It's uncovered as you move, as you stretch, as you obey. We live in a world that celebrates the loud, the obvious, the seen. We like to put confidence on display, talent on display, charisma on display, but God often hides strength in places nobody's checking. He hides it in quiet hearts. He hides in the one who is overlooked. He hides it in the one who's not loud, not flashy, not first in line. Act like them. He hides strength where it won't be corrupted, it won't be used for clout, where it won't be flaunted, but will be faithful. Act like them. Some of you have been walking around thinking you don't have what it takes, thinking that because you don't feel strong, you must not be strong. Act like them, but that's not how God's strength works. His strength doesn't always show up in goosebumps and fireworks. Sometimes it shows up in the way you didn't quit when you had every reason to. Sometimes it shows up in the way you stayed when walking away would have been easier. Sometimes it shows up in tears, in silence, in prayer, in the ability to get back up again. See, God hides strength so it can be revealed in the right moment. If it came too early, pride would contaminate it. If it came too loud, you get distracted. So he hides it because he knows what he put in you is too valuable to leave exposed before it's time. A seed, just like a seed, its power isn't in what it looks like on the surface, it's in what's buried inside. And when that seed is buried in the right environment, pressure comes, darkness comes, and then something starts to grow. You're not weak, you're not unprepared. You're just in the growing stage. You're in the stretching place. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's painful, but it's necessary because pressure pulls strength to the surface. God uses the tension to show you what you didn't know you had. Act like them. He'll allow the storm not to destroy you, but to develop you. He'll allow the weight not to break you, but to build you. Because what's hidden has to be drawn out. So stop mistaking hidden for absent. Stop confusing silence for absence. Just God hasn't revealed everything to you yet doesn't mean he hasn't given everything you need. You don't have to feel strong to be strong. You just have to trust that the one who called you didn't make a mistake. And if he hid strength in you, it's because he plans to use it at the right time, in the right battle, for the right reason. I know it's frustrating to carry an assignment and not feel fully equipped. Act like them, but here's the truth. God often gives you the weight before he shows you the muscle. You carry it before you realize what's in you. And it's in that carrying that the strength begins to show itself. You lift it, and suddenly something inside you rises up. You press forward and something starts to move, not because you felt ready, but because God knew you were already prepared. There's strength in your endurance. Act like them. There's strength in your obedience. There's strength in the way you keep showing up. Act like don't wait for some magical moment to feel powerful. Strength isn't proven in the spotlight, it's proven in the shadows. Act like them. It's revealed the moments when nobody's clapping, when nobody sees the fight, when all you have is your faith and your yes. Some of the strongest people I know don't even realize they're strong. They're too busy being faithful, too busy trusting God, too busy obeying. Act like them. That's the kind of strength God honors, the hidden kind, the resilient kind, the kind that doesn't quit when it gets hard, the kind that doesn't fold under pressure. So today I need you to stop waiting for strength to fall on you like lightning. It's already in you. It's already there. God hid it like treasure, buried it like gold, wrapped it in your spirit, waiting for the fire to bring it out. The strength you need is not coming from the outside. It's coming from the inside. Let me tell you something that may challenge your thinking. Act like them. The adversity you're facing isn't just a problem. It's the process that's unlocking your power. The very thing you've been praying for God to take away might be the exact thing he's using to activate what he hid in you. That storm, act like them, that pressure, that pain. It didn't come to break you. It came to build you because adversity doesn't just show you who you are. Act like it reveals who you've always been. See, we like to think strength is something that comes after we've made it through. Act like them, that we'll get stronger once the struggle is over. But strength doesn't show up after the battle. Strength shows up in the battle. Act like them. It's in the fight that the strength you didn't know you had begins to rise. You don't discover resilience in a peaceful place like them. You find it when everything around you is shaking, and somehow you're still standing. Some of you are asking God to deliver you from what he's using to develop you. Act like them. You're praying away the very environment where your strength is being refined, but pressure is part of the process. You don't know what's inside you until the heat gets turned up. Diamonds don't form without pressure. Oil doesn't flow without crushing. Act like them. And pure gold doesn't emerge without fire. What if what you're going through isn't punishment? It's preparation. Think about it. Every person used by God had to walk through some kind of adversity that stretched them, that challenged them, that exposed the hidden strength within. Act like them. David didn't find out he was a giant killer in the comfort of his father's house. It took a Goliath. Act like them. Esther didn't discover her courage sitting in the palace for comfort. She found it standing in the gap for her people. Jesus didn't show the depth of his strength until he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, sweating drops of blood, facing the cross. Act like them. That's where the strength was revealed. So what makes you think your path should be easy if your purpose is great? What makes you think the calling on your life can be fulfilled without some kind of stretching, some kind of adversity, some kind of proving ground? This assignment you're on isn't ordinary, so don't expect an ordinary process. What you're carrying is weighty. Act them. And it takes a different kind of pressure to bring out a different kind of power. Act like them. I know the enemy wants you to believe that this storm means you're doing something wrong, that you must be off course, but that may be God's forgotten you. But what if the storm is proof you're exactly where you need to be? Like them, what if the adversity is the very sign that your assignment is real? The enemy doesn't attack what isn't a threat. So if you're feeling pressed, act like them. If you're feeling targeted, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it might just mean something powerful is being stirred up inside you. Don't run from the adversity. Lean into it. Let it stretch you. Let it deepen your faith. Let it reveal what's been hidden inside you all along. Act like them. You're not being destroyed. You're being developed. You're being refined. Act like them. And you're being equipped for something you couldn't carry in your own strength. Act like them. That's why God hid his strength in you, because he knew this day would come. He knew this pressure would come. And he knew you would need a strength that didn't come from your flesh, but from your spirit. There's something about adversity that silences the noise. It strips away the unnecessary and gets you face to face with who you really are. Act like them. When you've cried all you can cry and you've prayed all you can pray and you're still here, that's when you find the strength, and not the kind that shouts, the kind that endures, the kind that digs deep, the kind that keeps showing up when everything in you wants to quit. And the beautiful thing is, once that strength is activated, once you've walked through the fire and realized it didn't burn you, you begin to understand that God really did place something powerful in you, something holy, something unshakable. You realize that if this didn't take you out, nothing can. You realize that adversity didn't stop you. It shaped you. It didn't bury you. It birthed you. So don't curse the adversity. Don't resent the process, because sometimes it takes a storm to show you that your roots run deep. Sometimes the hardest part of the assignment isn't the pressure. It's the process of becoming. It's not the outer battles, it's the inner ones, the ones that happen in silence, where nobody sees the tears, nobody hears the questions, and nobody feels the weight but you. And if we're being honest, sometimes the part that hurts the most is not what we're walking through, but what we're having to let go of while we walk. Because when God gives you an assignment, he doesn't just give you power, he calls you into transformation. He's not just interested in what you can do for him. He's focused on who you are becoming in him. And the truth is, before you ever accomplish the thing, God is shaping the person. Before he gives you the platform, he'll purify the heart. Before he opens the door, he'll stretch the soul. This assignment isn't just about reaching others. It's about refining you. God's not just working through you. He's working in you. Every delay, every challenge, every unfamiliar step is doing more than pushing you forward. It's changing your posture. It's training your character. and it's sharpening your discernment, because the version of you that received the assignment may not be the version that's strong enough to complete it. So God uses the process to grow you into who you need to become. And I know we don't always like that part. We want the assignment to come with a straight path. We want the growth to be easy. But the truth is, there's no elevation without surrender. There's no maturity without discomfort. God uses the assignment to dig deep into the places we've avoided, the insecurities we've buried, the fears we've hidden, the false identities we've worn for too long. He exposes what has to be healed so you can carry the weight of your calling with integrity and endurance. There are some things you used to lean on that can't go with you now. Some mindsets that worked in the last season but will sabotage you in this one. God will allow certain things to fall away, not because he's punishing you, but because he's pruning you. And pruning is painful. Pruning feels like loss. Pruning feels like God is taking, when he's actually preparing, he's making room. He's stripping off what doesn't belong so the real you, the anointed, trusted, called version of you can rise. You thought the assignment was just about doing the work, but God is more interested in you becoming the kind of person who can steward the work. That means letting him deal with the hidden places, the motives, the wounds, the attitudes, the fears you don't talk about. Because strength is not just about capacity, it's about character. And he won't let you carry influence with broken foundations. Some of you are frustrated, not because God hasn't moved, but because you're still trying to complete a divine assignment while clinging to old versions of yourself. And God is saying, you can't build the future with tools from your past. You can't walk into what's next if you're still attached to what's no longer serving you. That comfort zone, that old habit, that false identity, God is calling you to release it, not to punish you, but to promote you. This process is stretching you on purpose. The paying isn't wasted. The waiting isn't wasted. The pressure isn't pointless. It's all working together to shape the kind of vessel that won't just survive the assignment, but will thrive in it. God is preparing you for what you can't see yet. He's setting you apart for something you haven't even imagined yet. And if he's stretching you, it's only because he's expanding your capacity. So instead of resisting the process, lean into it. Trust that God knows what he's doing. Trust that the version of you on the other side of this will be stronger, wiser, more secure, more surrendered, more grounded than ever before. Don't fight the breaking. Let it birth something new. Don't run from the fire. Let it refine you. You are not being undone. You are being remade, because the assignment was never about what you could achieve in your own strength. It was always about who God could shape you into through the journey. Sometimes the real challenge of the assignment isn't starting, it's staying. It's holding steady when everything around you feels unstable. It's standing firm when the applause fades, the doors close, and the crowd that once cheered you on has gone silent. You thought the strength was just for the climb, but the truth is God gave you strength to stand, to stay grounded when the wind blows, to remain faithful when nothing makes sense, to keep showing up when everything in you wants to disappear. We often look for strength in the starting season, when things are fresh, when vision is clear, when momentum is high. But there's a different kind of strength God gives for the middle, the part of the journey where clarity turns into questions, the part where the weight of the calling feels heavier than you imagined, the part where you're not seeing the fruit yet, but you're still sowing anyway. That's when staying becomes a spiritual strategy. That's when stability becomes warfare. That's when the enemy whispers, quit, and the spirit inside of you says, stand. God didn't just hide strength in you for the assignment. Like them, one of the greatest lies the enemy will try to convince you of is that you're empty, that you don't have what it takes, that you need something outside of you, another title, another person, another opportunity to finally feel equipped. But let me tell you something, act like them. You are already carrying everything you need for this assignment. God didn't just call you, he equipped you. Before the first door opened, before the first problem showed up, before the first challenge ever hit your life. He packed you with everything necessary to fulfill your purpose. You carry divine equipment, not man-made tools, not shallow confidence, not surface-level motivation. Act like I'm talking about divine deposits, spiritual resources that God placed in you before you ever stepped into this season. Act like them. You don't need to go searching for what's already in your possession. God doesn't give an assignment and then leave you scrambling for tools. Act like them. When he called you, he already knew what would be required, and he put it in you before he even knew you needed it. See, the reason some people can't understand how you're still standing, how you're still moving forward, how act like them, how you haven't given up, is because they can't see what you're carrying. Don't know about the strength you draw from in secret. Act like them. They don't know about the word that God whispered to you in the dark. They don't know about the oil that's flowing from your pressing. Act like them. They don't see the divine equipment that's been tucked down in your spirit. But just because it's invisible doesn't mean it's not real. Act like them. Just because others don't recognize it doesn't mean it's not powerful. God doesn't place his greatest tools where everyone can admire them. Like he hides them in surrendered hearts, he places them in people who don't look the part on the outside, but who are dangerous in the spirit because of what they carry. You've got grace, you've got wisdom, you've got authority, you've got endurance. Act like them. You've got vision, you've got discernment, you've got weapons that aren't carnal, but mighty through God. Act like them, and they're not on loan. They're yours, given to you by the Spirit of God for this moment, for this season, for this fight. And the truth is, some of the greatest breakthroughs in your life are going to happen when you stop asking God to give you something more and start using what he's already placed in your hands. We keep looking around, waiting on some big sign, some new opportunity, some perfect condition. But God is saying, use what I gave you. You've been praying for a miracle, but the miracle is in your movement. It's in your obedience. It's in the moment you start walking in what you already have instead of waiting on something new to show up. God told Moses, what's like them? What's that in your hand? Because the miracle was already with him. It just needed to be activated by faith. Act like them. And maybe that's what God is saying to you right now. You're standing at the edge of the unknown, wondering how you're going to make it, how you're going to lead, how you're going to handle the pressure. And God is saying, I already gave you what you need. Trust it. Act like them. Use it. The anointing isn't something you're chasing. It's something you're carrying. Act like them. The authority isn't something you're waiting to receive. It's already been spoken over you. But here's the thing. Act like them. Divine equipment doesn't work if you don't move. God didn't give you all this just for you to sit on it. You've got to step out and you've got to stretch. You've got to put your faith to work because it's in the doing that the power shows up. It's in the risk. It's in the uncomfortable places. It's in the moments when you say, God, I don't feel ready. Act like them, but I trust that you are. You're not unequipped. You're just unused. There's more in you that hasn't been activated yet. And there's more in you that hasn't been required yet. And God is creating a situation, yes, even through pressure and adversity, that will call that power to the surface. Don't despise it. Don't resist it. Embrace it. Act like them, because this is what you were built for. And when you finally realize that you've been carrying it the whole time, act like them, that God didn't leave you vulnerable, that he actually prepared you better than you thought. Something shifts. Your confidence stops being rooted in feelings and starts being rooted in truth. And that truth is simply, you're not waiting to be equipped. You are equipped. He hid stability too. He placed endurance in you. He placed patience, persistence, all long suffering, all those quiet strengths we don't celebrate because they're not flashy, but they are faithful. And sometimes that's the greatest measure of strength, not what you start, but what you sustain. It takes strength to keep loving when you've been misunderstood, to keep leading when the results are slow, to keep building when people walk away. to keep speaking truth when it would be easier to stay silent. Like that kind of strength doesn't come from ambition or adrenaline. It comes from being anchored in something deeper than the moment. Act like them. It comes from being rooted in your assignment, not your emotions, because your feelings will fluctuate, but your purpose has to remain. Act like them. That's why you've got to be anchored. You've got to know why you're doing what you're doing, because if you don't know why, act like them, you'll give up too soon. If you don't know what God said, you'll start listening to what people say. Act like them. If you don't remember what was spoken in the spirit, you'll start reacting to what's happening in the natural. Act like them. You'll start questioning the assignment, not because it changed, but because you got weary, and that's real. Weariness is real. Fatigue is real. Act like, but even in your weary place, there's still power. You don't have to feel strong to be strong. Sometimes just staying when you want to walk away is the greatest evidence of the strength God hid in you. Act like them, because the enemy is hoping the pressure will make you flee. He's banking on your instability. But every time you stay rooted, every time you stay planted, every time you remain when you could run, you're proving that what's in you is not fragile, it's fortified. Act like them. You're not just surviving, you're holding ground. You're not just enduring, you're resisting. And sometimes that's what victory looks like. Not advancement, not promotion, not applause. Sometimes victory is simply not quitting, not folding, not compromising. It's holding on to your integrity when it would be easier to lower the standard. It's holding on to your faith when doubt starts whispering louder. It's holding on to your identity when the world tries to label you. There's a reason God didn't show you everything about this assignment up front. If you had seen the whole path, you might have tried to skip the staying season. But stay and build something starting never could. And staying develops roots, and roots grow in silence underground in hidden places. No one applauds the roots, but without them, the tree doesn't stand. So if you feel unseen, unnoticed, uncelebrated, good. That means you're in the place where God does his deepest work. Act like them. He's not interested in making you flash. He's making you faithful. He's building someone who doesn't just burn bright, but burns long. Walk like them, because endurance isn't just a fruit of maturity. It's a sign that you've been with God, that you've been anchored, that your strength doesn't come from moments, but from being rooted in his presence. You may be tired. You may be questioning. You may be tempted to lay it all down, but hear me. This is not the time to give up. This is the time to dig in, to remember why you started, to rehearse what he said, to lean into the strength that's already in you. You were never meant to carry this in your own ability. Act like them. God didn't just assign you. He anchored you. And if you'll stay rooted, you'll see the fruit. If you'll remain, you'll see the harvest. Act like them, because what God builds in the storm will outlast any build in the spotlight.